Welcome everyone to our live. We are here, Modifier Tip Tuesday. I am very excited to have my special guest on the show with me, Kimberly Jolivet-Williams. Hello, Kimberly. How are you today?
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited to do this. It's been a minute since I have been live on LinkedIn and Facebook, and now our brand new YouTube channel is going
Yay.
live today for the first time. So excited.
Awesome. Yay.
Yes. And so for our audience, I mean, a lot of them out there know us and they know
Yeah.
you and me, and we've been on together before
Yes.
talking about modifiers. So let's tell our audience why we chose to talk about modifiers. Now, Kim, you've been in the industry how many years? Let's date you a little bit.
Oh my goodness. I want to say over like 25 now. Like I try to wrap it up in my mind, but it's been about 25 years now.
Oh goodness, I just hit my 20 mark not too long ago, and so it's hard to believe that it's been this long that we've
I
been
know,
doing
right?
this, right?
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but when I started, of course, back when I started, they called them receptionists, right? I don't like that term anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they call them, PSRs, patient success representatives, whatever you call them, patient service representatives, because that's what they do. And
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that role that I had
Okay.
I'm sure you have
Oh,
had
yeah.
experience too. Where did you first start actually? What was your first
I
experience?
actually started as a unit secretary. That is the
Okay,
term that
similar.
gave them. And you worked on the floor. My first floor was telemetry. And I find that funny because I think back, I was right out of high school when I took that job. And it was in telemetry. And it's like cardiovascular has not turned me loose, right? I'm still, I even end up abstract coding for cardiovascular years later. So I started there, and that's where I started. I also did some, like you said, receptionists, or they used to call them check in and out clerks, right? For our
Mhm.
Primacare. And that's kind of where I got started.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we both had those experiences where we've actually talked to the patients, we've talked to the physicians, we've really dug in and really learned all we can. I remember
Mhm.
early on when I was working as a denial representative, and I would go through those denials, and I remember how many of them were related to modifiers.
Oh,
And
yes.
back then, I was not a fan of modifiers. I was just like, I'm never going to get this. And so finally I did. But to this day, 20 years later, I am
Yep.
still seeing
Oh,
my
yes.
number one, the number one, it's modifiers every
Yes.
time.
I know.
And it's right, right? So,
Yep.
and we know the big offenders. We're going to talk about, them in a later show, the 25 and 59. But
Yes.
78 is always one of those ones that people just go back and forth, right?
Hmm.
Um, 78, 58, 78, 58. Which one
Yep.
is it?
Yep.
And
79
so
too. They get all,
79, yeah, the three.
yep. Easy to get mixed up, right?
So
And
easy.
it's funny you bring that up. I just did a modifier presentation yesterday for a chapter, and in my presentation, I have a comparison that I do, and I put them all on the slide together, 58, 78, 79, with little tips about them, because it is something that can get very convoluted and confusing if you don't pay attention.
100%. I totally agree with you. And that's why, again, as many of you have seen, we are bringing you live on tour our Modifier Boot Camp. We are so excited, guys. Guess what? Here it comes. The Modifier Boot Camp is coming to Dallas, Texas.
I'm so excited you're coming to Dallas.
We're coming to you, Kim, and I chose it as my first location because it is one of my favorite cities, of course, and
Yes,
also it's not far from me to
that's
start
right.
my first location. So
Yes,
I'm
and I'm here.
excited. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It's crazy. All the times we have tried to meet in person
I
have
know.
literally failed.
I know, it's so crazy. I know. I'm like, I told someone that the other day. I was like, I consider y'all some of my best colleagues, right? And it's crazy. We have not been able to interact in person, but we've done so much
Mhm.
virtually. It's like y'all are my best colleagues.
I know, right? And back when the pandemic started, I had already reached out to you because we were already exchanging questions about things. I was working as a coder, an auditor actually, and they threw me into this one of these providers, and he was doing a lot of vascular stuff. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh my goodness, I'm not really good at this. So I would reach out to you and found you, and that's
yeah,
how we connected. And then we started this whole virtual conference thing. And I love speaking virtually, but
yeah,
I'm a little burnout.
yeah. It can be. It can be.
So
Yes.
I am ready to get out there and see the world and see some people and just
Yes.
interact and connect and network. And we're going to have some fun mixers and some fun live events after each Modifier boot camp to kind of get that networking flowing. And so we're excited to get out there and meet everyone. And so we encourage everyone to bring your physicians, bring whoever wants to come. We're going to have 2 sessions, morning and afternoon, each day of the boot camp. There's a QR code there right for you to scan if you want to attend the Dallas location. But again, we always like to give away opportunities for those that can't make it to the events and also don't have an event in their city. So go ahead and check the virtual option. We have a great opportunity for you there as well.
Yes,
So
and that's great. I think
just make sure that you attend that.
this is a wonderful idea for a boot camp because it's so easy to get mixed up when you're applying modifiers. And you're right. You think about it way back all those years ago when we were working denials. We had these same issues. It's like they never go away. The bad actors still apply, and modifier 25 and 59, you're right. It's like they can't ever get off of the OIG work plan because they constantly are looking at it. I just think about the whirlwind that everybody went through emotionally when Cigna put their rule out that they thought they were going to require everyone to send in medical records, right? For Modifier
Oh gosh.
25. And I just told them yesterday, it was like, I cringe at that idea because I know it's labor intensive for the practices and no one can really probably keep up with that, not even them. But I understand, right? Because we're
Mm-hmm.
not using them correctly all the time. So it
Exactly.
brings that pause, when it comes to modifiers. So I definitely,
100%. Yeah.
like, I
And
don't agree, but I understand, right?
exactly. And so next week, guys, next week, Sanal Patel's coming on the show. We're going to talk about Modifier 25. So stay tuned for that. We're excited about that. I wanted to quickly, we're going to go, like I said, we're going to give you some tips, right? Some little wet your feet a little bit, some little taste of our boot camp. So I wanted to give everyone just the facts, right? There's a lot of facts, but the one thing I want to point out is ask yourself this question. Why are they returning to the OR, the
That's
operating
right.
room, right?
That's
So
right.
this is a return to the OR, right? During the global period. We already know this about Modifier 78. I'm not going to call it out. Most of us out there know what it means. You can open up your CPT book, Appendix A, and read all about Modifier 78. I'm not going to, go into all that. But
Mhm.
Modifier 78 is a return to the OR if you're in that global period. So ask yourself, why am I taking my patient back to the OR? There has to be a reason. And again, we know Medicare has the global package. They have the 0 to 90 days. Of course, 10 or 90 days is when you're going to be using these for major and minor procedures.
That's right.
One thing to keep in mind is a new postoperative period does not begin. Now,
That's right.
Kim, can you kind of give some insight as to why we wouldn't see it begin again?
Yes, because when you think about it, it originated from that original initial procedure, right?
Mhm.
And so when you're going back, it's considered unplanned, but it's still related. So when you think about the concept of reimbursement, they're like, we're not going to give you the full 100% because they're tied together, right? They're
Mhm.
like partners. So your initial service was your first one. You got reimbursed, hopefully 100% for that one. Well, now you're returning and it's unplanned, but it's still related. So because it's still related, then you're not going to get a full reimbursement, but you'll get a reimbursement on it. It'll be lesser than 100%, but it'll be a fair reimbursement for the intraoperative portion of what you're returning them to the OR for.
Exactly, exactly. And so I wanted to give you guys in the chat here, I'm going to see if I can put that on there for you.
I know I was
It's a
trying to
really
do that.
great
Yes.
link here. And I'm in the Novitas region. I know a lot of other people I talk to are. I know you are, Kim. So
Yes.
I'm going to post in there the link to the download for the Modifier 78. At the very bottom of all of these fact sheets for Novitas, they give references where they got this information. So you can go to the claims processing manual and just find, I just do Control F78 and I keep going until I find where it actually talks about that
Mhm.
modifier.
That's
And
right.
there's a really great paragraph in there that really lays it out, and it tells you exactly how they reimburse this procedure. And so I want you to kind of go into that. They talk about the Medicare physician fee database, and they say, they tell you exactly where to go to find that information. If you go to those intraoperative global days, because it's going to be the intraoperative portion that they're looking at, because they're not going to pay you for preoperative and postoperative. That's already been captured, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about that intraoperative portion you're looking at reimbursement for, which is why, again, you don't get the full reimbursement, because you're only getting paid for the intraoperation that you're doing.
That's right, because they feel like they've already reimbursed you already for your pre and your post-op work. You're just now returning. So yes, and that's another clue of when you should be using 78 versus the other ones, right? Because that, again, your post-op doesn't restart and it is considered related. So that's like a question you can ask yourself too. Is this related or not? Just to kind of gear you up on knowing which modifier is appropriate to apply.
Exactly. Great stuff. So, and then also, I wanted to highlight, again, we need to know our definition. So when it says return to OR, a common question we get is, what is an OR? I always get that question.
Yes.
What is an operating room?
That's right. I know. It says solely for the purpose of performing procedures. I love that. I love this definition. I love my Novitas Mac. They make it so plain for us, right?
Absolutely, got to shout out to them. They're great, and I think a lot of other people I talk to that I've talked to in other Macs, they'll say, "Hey, yeah, I go to Novitas all the time because they have great stuff. They have the the decision trees. They're awesome."
I hear that about the E&M center too. They have that E&M center. So yes, they do have a lot of phenomenal resources there.
Exactly. So again, if you are not performing this in a cardiac catheterization suite, a laser suite, an endoscopy suite, if you are performing it in a patient room, a minor treatment room, a recovery room, etc., you are not getting credit with the Modifier 78. And so I do caution practices. Now, I am all about looking for opportunities for revenue. And I always tell my practice when I'm auditing or when I'm going in to consult with a physician, and I've had this conversation with a lot of general surgeons that I've worked with over the years, because they do some procedures where they want to bring the patient back in and they have to drain something or they have to do this or that. And sometimes it's planned, because you're going to have to do it. Now, in the case of things like debridement, where you have to bring the patient back several times to debride a wound, that's a different story. But when you don't know, so ask yourself this question: did you plan it?
That's right.
Was it planned? Did you know this was going to happen, or is it a complication?
Yeah, was it on the schedule, right? Was it already on the schedule? Exactly.
Now, 58 we'll get into later. I know we're going to have another presenter coming on with us to talk about 58. And then once we get that under the rug, I think we'll really, understand these concepts. But we really encourage you to come out to one of our boot camps. We're going to really dig deep into these modifiers. We're going to actually look at cases, and we're going to get to practice it. You're going to get to actually look at these scenarios that are real scenarios that we all face, and see how they come about, and you're going to have to pick it right there live with me. So I'm not going to be just presenting to a audience that's just staring at me. I want to make sure you are engaged and alive.
Interactive, right? We want to
make sure you're really alive.
I know. I always tell them, don't just let me stare at these black and white boxes. Get on camera. Let's have some interaction, right? We need to see you and interact with you.
Yes. Last night I gave my ICD-10 2024 updates presentation, and I was so grateful that several people put their faces out, because it's so hard to see, like, am I making sense? Is what I'm saying reaching you? Because I don't know. That's why I love in person. And and so
I did the same thing. I did the narrative that modifiers convey last night for a chapter, and I too was excited that it was for my own chapter. What am I talking about? It was my Richardson, Texas chapter, and I loved it because people got on camera and I was able to see people interact. I like seeing the faces too.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this question. There's a good question from Mr. John Piaskowski, one of our friends.
Hey, my friend. Hey, John.
So let's ask this question here. So I've seen situations in peds cardio where the room is sterilized and converted to an emergent OR per critical measures and inability to move the patient. Does this count? What do you say, Kim?
Now, I would say yes, because if you look at that descriptor that you had on there, identifying what an OR is, at the very end of it, it says recovery room or intensive care unit. And it says, unless the patient's condition was so critical that there would be insufficient time for transportation to an OR. So, in my opinion, that's my Kimberlyism, right? I would say
Yes.
yes, because if it's going to threaten that patient to try to relocate them, you want to do all you can to salvage that patient care. And so I would say yes, John.
I 100% agree with you. That's
Yeah,
excellent, excellent. So
yeah,
good stuff. Thank you,
phenomenal
John.
question. Great question.
Excellent,
Thank you.
excellent. And we are coming to Dallas. So just a reminder, Dallas, it's October 27th, 2023. You can grab your tickets. Guess what, guys? We're coming to Florida. We're coming to Florida on December 9th, and we are looking at a second location the week after. We are going to be speaking to the Tampa area and
Nice.
looking at Tampa, Florida on the West Coast. So if you're in Tampa or on the west side of Florida, stay tuned for that location update. We're going to be keeping that coming at you. And then, okay, I love St. Louis. I'm gonna say I just love it. So I had to go to see the St. Louis and my peeps, and I have some good friends there, and they have the best zoo in the world. Besides, San Diego's got a great zoo,
Hmm.
but St. Louis is free. It's a free
Nice.
zoo, and
Okay.
I love it so much. And so, guess what, guys? We are having the actual modifier boot camp at the St. Louis Zoo.
What? Oh
I'm
my,
telling you, I'm
that is
super
amazing.
excited. So this is exciting, right? I'm excited. So bring the kids, bring the family. You guys can come in the morning, have a morning session, it's 3 hours. Then the rest of the day you have with your family at the zoo. It's a
That's
Saturday,
nice.
right?
That's
And then
nice.
you can they open at 8. You can go in the morning, right? Have some time with your family, then come check us out at 1 o'clock to 4. They're open, till 6:30, so you have a little extra time afterwards. It's perfect, right?
Nice. Yeah, that is so exciting.
So
And I'm going to
exciting.
be honest and transparent. I am not an animals person, but when I tell you, it is so funny. Everyone around me is an animals person. My
Oh my
kids,
goodness.
my grandkids, my husband. I'm like, how did I get? How did me, who don't care for animals, get connected to all these people? So my family would love that zoo.
I love it, love it. No, yeah. So that's coming in March. So I'm excited for that. And as a special treat today only to the end of today, remember you virtual users get your extra 10% or $10 off of the virtual
Oh,
ticket. So when you
nice.
go to purchase these tickets, don't forget to enter code flash10 for an extra $10 off.
Nice.
Can't beat it, guys. We know it's hard to get out there and find education for yourself to get CEUs and to stay updated. So don't forget to use this code by midnight tonight. And so just as a reminder, you can go to the QR code here for the Dallas location. There's also the virtual options. You can check that and then you can grab it. You can also go on Eventbrite when you're there and go look for the other locations, the other events,
Mm.
and those will be available as well for you to find for yourself. So I hope you can get out there and join us for the Modifier Bootcamp tour that is coming at you very, very soon. So
Yes, and I'm
um,
going to be at the one in Dallas. I can't wait. I'm excited. So I hope all of the people in my Dallas Fort Worth area, y'all come and join us. I'm going to be there.
exactly, exactly. So we are having lots of modifiers coming at you. 78 was our quick little tip today. We want to make sure and give you those quick tips. Understand, come out and see us. We're going to give you all the great education. We're going to talk about 25, 59, 58, 78, 79. All of these are the boot camp. We're going to talk about our actually behavioral health modifiers. We had some requests for that. We're going to talk about telehealth. We're all about it. Telehealth's coming. We're going to talk about Jay-Z,
Yeah.
not Jay-Z and Beyonce,
Yeah.
but
I
but
know, right?
Jay-Z.
I brought that up
Jay-Z.
last night when I talked about my modifier presentation. I'm like, yeah, Jay-Z, right?
Exactly, right? So it's still a hot topic. The other day I was auditing and I saw it on an orthopedic drug that it was not a single vial drug. And I
Mm,
just I just think people don't get it. So
they
we're gonna
don't.
talk about it. We're gonna get it out
Mhm.
there because we
Yeah.
don't want you to
You're
make
right.
any unnecessary mistakes, right?
That's right. And it is important, right? Because you have to set yourself up to get that additional education that you don't know. I'm going through that right now with some things that I'm looking at in auditing review for documentation with compliance, and things like knowing what a single file is. If you don't know what those are, you're going to have to learn yourself up so that when you do see things like you just saw, you know that it's inappropriate or appropriate to apply JW or JZ, right? And so
Exactly.
I agree. We do. We have to take that extra time, right? This is our career. It's our onus. So we have to dive in there, and whatever we don't know, no one knows everything, right? But together we
Exactly.
all can support each other and learn. So you just have to get out there and network and seek and get that education you need so you can be great.
Yes, yes. And I see you, Keisha. Keisha Wilson, I see your question. I see your comment here that we have
Ah,
to come to NYC, the Big Apple. We are
hi.
working on it. I will say on May 18th, we are coming to Boston. Boston. So we are coming to Boston.
Bye.
I'm looking at a cool location we are hopeful to get Fenway Park. I'm really excited to get Fenway Park
Wow.
for Boston because I'm a huge Red Sox fan, like
Oh,
huge.
really?
So that's one of the reasons why I chose Boston. But
Nice.
while we're over there, I would like to do that, or we can come back. We're just looking at dates and locations for New York. So if you have any suggestions, Keisha, let us know. We're trying to make our way to the East Coast as we get interest from
Hmm.
people. So
Yeah,
if you have that ability to drum up interest for us
that's
in
it.
your area, let us know if you have enough interest. We have a form that we can send out to you, basically to fill out, kind of like the old days where you used to try to get the poll out to everyone to sign the
That's
form
it.
to get things
Yeah.
done. It's kind of like that. I got to know that I have the support, and I'll come see
Yes.
you. Let's
What you
get that
say?
make
Get
that
your
happen.
petition. Get that
Yep.
petition going, right?
Let's petition the neighborhood and say, "Hey,
That's
you coming?"
that's
So
it. I
let's do that.
love it. I love
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, but we really want everyone to really be excited about this. So get out there and purchase your tickets tonight if you can. Get signed up because we really want you to get that extra discount if you can. You already
Yes.
get 10% off, right? With Modifier 10. So there's another coupon code I wanted to shout out there.
Yeah.
So if you can go and you can already get that anyway. I have flyers out there all over the place. So Modifier 10 is the coupon code. Everybody gets that already for all ticket levels. And then you can, of course, tonight, if you're virtual, you get that extra $10 off. The extra 10 is only for virtual users, but you can come out and see us in person with the extra 10% off with Modifier 10 as your coupon code. So use that
Yes.
as well.
Right.
Really, really great stuff, guys. So thank you, Kimberly, for coming on quickly today.
Okay.
We're going to make this a quick 20-minute kind of tip here, and we'll be on next Tuesday with Sunil Patel with
Yeah.
Modifier 25. We will see you then.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. You know, it's my honor to serve. I love it. And y'all get registered. Get registered for that modifier boot camp near you.
All right. We will see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
thriving Tuesday.